High in the Bolivian Andes, on a windswept plateau more than 12,000 feet above sea level, lies a site that defies ordinary explanation. This place is called Puma Punku, a shattered complex of megalithic blocks scattered across the landscape like pieces of a broken world. Some weigh more than 100 tons. Others are carved with angles so sharp they feel almost industrial, as if shaped by tools far more precise than simple stone hammers. Every block rests at extreme altitude where the air is thin, the climate harsh, and construction on this scale seems almost impossible. Yet someone more than 1,000 years ago transported these massive stones across the Andean highlands, then shaped them with a level of precision that still challenges modern engineers. Edges meet in perfect symmetry. Surfaces are polished to an uncanny smoothness. Complex patterns interlock as if part of a single, unified design. The people who built this place left no written explanation, no blueprints, no record of how these stones were cut, moved, or assembled. What remains is a mystery carved into the landscape, a puzzle of geometry, engineering, and lost knowledge. And standing before these blocks, many feel the same question rise. How did an ancient civilization create stonework this precise, at a place so remote, and at a scale so extraordinary? To understand Puma Punku, we first need to understand the people who lived here, the Tiwanaku civilization. Long before the Inca rose to power, the Tiwanaku culture flourished around Lake Titicaca, building temples, plazas, and stone complexes that shaped the region for centuries. Their capital, just a short walk from Puma Punku, was a monumental city, a center of religion, politics, and trade high in the Andes. Archaeology shows that the Tiwanaku were skilled farmers, engineers, and stoneworkers. They developed raised field agriculture, created intricate irrigation systems, and formed a society that influenced the entire Andean world. Most researchers believe Puma Punku was one of their ceremonial sites, a place of ritual, gathering, or initiation. Its design reflects Tiwanaku symbolism, with patterns that echo their art and spiritual beliefs. But even with this cultural context, the precision of Puma Punku's stonework feels out of place. It surpasses everything else the Tiwanaku built. Other structures in their world are impressive, but none match the razor-sharp cuts, interlocking blocks, and machine-like symmetry found here. So the question remains, if the Tiwanaku built this complex, how did they achieve a level of craftsmanship so refined that it still challenges our understanding today? Because even with all we know about their culture, the methods behind Puma Punku's construction remain a mystery, a missing chapter in the story of an ancient civilization. The scale of Puma Punku becomes even more astonishing when we consider how its stones arrived here. Some of the blocks weigh more than 100 tons, massive slabs of andesite and red sandstone that would test even modern machinery. Yet the people who built this site had no metal cranes, no wheels suited for heavy transport, and faced the brutal terrain of the Andean highlands. Many of the largest stones came from quarries far from the construction site. Some sources lie more than 10 kilometers away, others more than 80. Moving such weights across uneven ground, through steep inclines and thin mountain air, would have required extraordinary planning and manpower. Archaeologists suggest they used sledges, ramps, and teams of workers hauling ropes, methods seen in other ancient cultures. But at this altitude, over 12,000 feet above sea level, the logistics become far more demanding. Simple tasks become exhausting. Breath is thin, weather is unpredictable, and frost can form even beneath a bright sun. And yet, the builders not only transported these stones, they positioned them with remarkable accuracy. Some blocks are aligned within fractions of a degree. Others rest on foundations so level they rival modern engineering standards. The effort to move and set these megaliths speaks to a society with immense organization. and a determination that pushed the limits of what seemed possible. How they achieved this feat remains one of the enduring mysteries of Puma Punku, a puzzle carved into the heart of the Andes. The true mystery of Puma Punku emerges when we look closely at the stonework itself. Many of the blocks are andesite, a volcanic rock harder than most steel tools used in antiquity. Shaping it requires immense effort and extraordinary control. Yet here, the surfaces are astonishingly smooth. Edges run straight and true. Corner angles meet with crisp perfection, as if crafted with methods far beyond simple hammer and chisel. Some blocks feature recessed cuts so precise that each groove maintains a uniform depth, clean lines that seem almost machined. The famous H blocks are the best example. Each one follows the same complex pattern, matching dimensions, angles, and symmetry with near-identical accuracy. For these shapes to interlock correctly, every measurement had to be exact. Even a slight error would throw the entire design off balance. Archaeologists propose techniques such as pounding stones, abrasives, and careful chiseling over long periods. But replicating this level of precision today remains a significant challenge. Some researchers have attempted modern reconstructions, yet the results rarely match the sharpness, the uniformity, or the flawless geometry seen at Puma Punku. Whatever methods the builders used, they mastered the art of stone shaping to a degree rarely seen anywhere in the ancient world. And as we examine these surfaces, the question only grows louder. How did a civilization with limited metallurgy create stonework that feels almost impossibly precise? At Puma Punku, the precision isn't just in the cuts, it's in how the stones were designed to fit together. Many blocks contain intricate recesses, channels, notches, and stepped patterns that interlock like pieces of a vast geometric puzzle. Some stones join with such accuracy that even a thin blade cannot pass between the seams. The joints are tight, clean, and carefully aligned. This wasn't random creativity. The interlocking shapes follow a consistent logic, a modular system where each block supports the next. In several areas, the stones were designed to bind together horizontally and vertically, creating stability through geometry rather than mortar. These patterns suggest the builders understood load distribution, vibration, and structural integrity in ways that feel remarkably advanced. The H blocks, for example, were crafted with repeating dimensions that allow them to lock into place as if following an architectural blueprint. Even the internal corners, sharp, perfect, and symmetrical, show a mastery of depth control that's difficult to achieve in hard andesite. Modern engineers have noted that these designs resemble modular systems used in precision construction today. Whether for aesthetics, strength, or alignment, the interlocking geometry at Puma Punku reveals an understanding of stonecraft that pushes the boundaries of what ancient builders were thought to be capable of. It raises a powerful question. What knowledge guided the minds that shaped these impossible blocks? When we look at Puma Punku as an engineering project, the complexity becomes even more remarkable. The builders didn't just carve stones with precision. They designed an entire platform foundation that required exact leveling across the site. Some of the blocks rest on surfaces so flat and true they rival the tolerances of modern construction. Archaeologists have measured joints that are aligned within fractions of a millimeter. At this altitude, without modern tools, such accuracy feels almost unreal. The site also shows evidence of advanced planning before construction even began. Channels and cuts suggest water management, a way to stabilize the ground, or support ceremonial functions. Some researchers believe the stones were arranged in a sequence of load-bearing patterns, a design meant to distribute weight through interlocking geometry rather than mortar. Others point to the layout itself, a platform that seems intentionally raised and terraced, as if meant to elevate a structure of great importance. Yet today, the complex lies shattered. Whether by earthquakes, time, or human activity, the original design is fragmented, leaving only pieces of the full blueprint. Even in ruin, however, the engineering brilliance is unmistakable. The precision cuts, the flawless surfaces, the alignment of stones built at extreme altitude, all point to a civilization that understood far more about construction and design than history typically credits. And the deeper we analyze these blocks, the clearer it becomes. Puma Punku was not merely built, it was engineered with intention and skill that still challenges us today. For all its precision, what makes Puma Punku truly extraordinary is not what remains, but what's missing. No tools have been found that can fully explain the workmanship. No copper chisels capable of shaping hard andesite with this level of accuracy. No records describe the methods used. No inscriptions, no diagrams, no traces of the techniques behind these perfect cuts. The Tiwanaku civilization created remarkable art and architecture, but nothing else they built matches the precision seen in these interlocking stones. This contrast fuels one of Puma Punku's greatest questions. Why is the craftsmanship here so far beyond what we see in the rest of their world? Some researchers point to long-lost methods, abrasives, string-cutting techniques, or forms of controlled pecking that may have refined surfaces over time. Others believe the builders developed a specialized craft tradition, a group of stoneworkers who mastered skills that never survived into later cultures. Whatever the case, the knowledge behind these stones seems to have disappeared completely. The collapse of the Tiwanaku civilization left no written legacy, and with it, the techniques of Puma Punku faded into silence. We are left with the results: flawless angles, sharp recesses, and interlocking blocks that still defy simple explanation. It is a reminder that ancient knowledge can vanish just as easily as it appeared, leaving only the stones to speak for the minds that shaped them. To understand Puma Punku, we must place it within the wider world of the Tiwanaku civilization. This was a culture shaped by the extremes of the Andes, thin air, cold winds, and a landscape carved by ancient lakes and shifting horizons. Their art reflects a deep connection to both the natural world and the cosmos. Geometric patterns, divine beings, and symbols of transformation fill their ceramics and carvings. At the heart of their belief system stood the concept of order emerging from chaos. A cosmic balance echoed in their architecture and rituals. The temples of Tiwanaku feature sunken courts, monoliths, and alignments that track celestial events. Their city was a reflection of the sky above and the earth below. Puma Punku appears to embody this worldview with extraordinary clarity. Its interlocking stones, precision cuts, and monumental scale suggest intentions far beyond simple construction. Some researchers see it as a sanctuary, a place where priests or elites performed ceremonies tied to creation myths and cosmic cycles. Others believe it functioned as a stage for seasonal rituals, moments when the lines between the human world and the divine grew thin. Whatever its purpose, Puma Punku stands as a testament to a civilization that shaped stone with both engineering skill and spiritual meaning. Here, high in the mountains, the Tiwanaku expressed their identity through a fusion of geometry, cosmology, and breathtaking craftsmanship. When we gather all the evidence, the megalithic blocks, the interlocking geometry, the flawless cuts, and the extreme altitude, a single truth becomes clear. Puma Punku is not just ruins. It is a puzzle, a blueprint for a method of construction we still don't fully understand. The Tiwanaku left no records to explain how these stones were shaped or moved. No instructions, no inscriptions, no testimony from the builders themselves. What survives is the result of their knowledge, a level of precision that feels both ancient and ahead of its time. Some see this as proof of a forgotten craft tradition, a skill set mastered and then lost with the collapse of the civilization. Others view it as a pinnacle, a rare moment when ingenuity, culture, and spiritual purpose combine to create something extraordinary. Whatever the explanation, Puma Punku challenges us to rethink what ancient people were capable of. The mastery of stone here does not diminish the Tiwanaku, it elevates them, showing a civilization whose achievements still stand at the edge of our understanding. And as we look across the scattered blocks, one question remains, a question that echoes across the windswept plateau. What knowledge shaped these stones, and how much of it have we forgotten? And as always, stay curious.